Hey comrades, welcome back to Baja Overland Adventure series, and if you haven't seen previous episodes you can check them out in the pop-up in the right top of the screen. On the previous day we made a push from San Felipe all the way to Bahia de Los Angeles through some really nice unpaved highway. To save money I was gonna camp across the road in a what turned out to be abandoned campground, but it looked so sketchy that I decided to return to the hotel, join the guys, partake in a hot shower. Now in the morning finally we got to see what Bahia de Los Angeles looks like. With the sun out and lots of heat and previous days of driving, it didn't take us long to be convinced that we should really stay in this area for a while. We needed a little bit of a break, and also we wanted to do a little bit of fishing, and this was as good of a place as any to do just that. I checked my map and I saw that there is a place called La Gringa just north of Bahia de Los Angeles, so we decided to proceed there. And as we arrived there we saw a couple of German Unimogs. In Baja it's not uncommon to see some heavy big rigs all the way from Europe. Not just big rigs, but all kinds of rigs from Spain, Italy, France, Germany, England, everywhere. This beach was vastly open and it was quite windy that day. And of course all the hilly protected areas, other people were already taking spots there. So, except the big rigs, they didn't care where they needed to park. But I had rooftop tent guys with me, Brad and Brett, who started to call out, yeah, we don't want to sleep in this wind flapping, let's go search for some kind of secluded place. And that's what we had to do. We ended up going further in this territory, and at this point it was uncharted territory. There's no road, there's nothing, it's like where do you go? But we needed to find a space. So I set out on following this little trail up the hill to see what's over there, and we decided, one vehicle should do it. Because it could be a limited space, or maybe if you get stuck, then another vehicle is outside waiting for you from your scouting mission and can help you out. There comes that dreaded moment in every videographer's life where you realize you lost lots of footage, and this is the case for this episode. I usually don't tend to overlay voiceover for my episodes, which I may do in the future a little bit, but in this case I absolutely have to, because on this trip I used 2 GoPros. One is always on the camera, on the car roof, and the other one was for me talking. So that SD card for this day, and possibly, I'm not sure, for next day, all of that talking that I've done is completely gone. So it is what it is. Let me know in a comment down below if you actually prefer this way. If you're a returning subscriber, you know how I've produced episodes before, and if you actually like this, do leave a comment. And the reason in the past I've always stuck to talking footage is to portray the emotions and what was happening in that moment at that time. Not something that's half a year later, or a year later, or a month later, but actually how it was like back in that moment. So after driving for about 15 minutes all around that area, it looked like I found just a place for those needy guys to deploy their rooftop tent and not be blown away. And yeah, it was time to basically return over the hill, while drive back 5 minutes or whatever, and grab those guys and proceed back. In a time like this, you realize how inefficient in many ways the rooftop tent setup is. Of course, smaller vehicles, lots of them have no choice but to go that setup or ground tent. But me being in a truck and my setup being in a canopy, I really could care less about any kind of wind. If anything, the wind puts me to sleep like a lullaby shaking my car. But if you live in the northern regions where it rains and stuff, you need to dry as well. Every weekend you come out, and the wind is a big issue. So dodging between different arroyos, we kept cruising and cruising just to find a place to satisfy the requirements, which would be 2 high walls on both sides, and so the wind isn't blowing through the arroyo. And I was really glad that when I'm solo, I don't have to think about these things whatsoever. But I would be lying if that was the only requirement. Actually, the wind by the sea was very chilly. Even though the sun was hot, the wind blowing, it definitely gotten very cold in the evening later. So we finally deployed. I just opened my tailgate and I was camping and actually watching them for half an hour deploying their stuff. But later on they'll have a last laugh. We later then did some fishing, strapped on our warm jackets, and that was a great night. And at the end there was some pyromania going on. What can I say, in the end it was great crew and great times. Hey comrades, don't forget to hit that like button and also leave a comment, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you should by hitting that subscription button and also bell notification next to it, so you can actually get my video updates both in notification in your video feed, and as well you can support this channel if you like my videos through PayPal or Patreon in the links down below or just after this video.